Sitting here again talking about the same things.
Well, the all too great loser of this previous week, Brian Kelly, just got through saying we're sitting here again talking about the same things. And the same thing we're talking about is some more FBS. A lot of FBS out there this week, Red.
Indeed. But Squid, do you remember what FBS stands for? Or do I need to remind you?
I think you should go ahead and remind me because I can't seem to figure it out. So tell us.
All right, I'll tell you all loud and clear, maybe in a way that you've never heard it before. Medivorum! It's Latin for fucking bullshit.
And welcome, everybody, to another grand edition of the FBS Report. We got to go over week 5, a very, very crazy, you know what? No. It was a very uneventful week 5. There wasn't a lot that happened. No big crazy upsets. No predictability at all from many teams. Penn State. There wasn't very, very unpredictable results. I'll say that much.
I mean, did Saturday traumatize you is for some reason? Because I'd say a lot happened, even though there wasn't like a lot of upsets. I know Mississippi State about had your ass in Stark Vegas, but that's about that's about the majority of the games we saw on Saturday. A lot of near misses, but there was a couple of games where it was like, yeah, that's gonna hurt for a while.
No kidding. I'm going to go over everything I possibly can today, or we can possibly go through. There is a lot to go over, and we've already started 10 minutes late. So let's go ahead and roll. I mean, I guess first I'll go ahead and tell everybody in here, thank you all so much for watching and supporting us here on the FBS Report. Whether you're just a channel watcher, a subscriber, if this is your first time here, then welcome. We're glad to have you over here. Plenty of college football action every single week. And that's the great thing about college football content is that it never dies out. There's always something new to discuss every single week, whether it's through the college football season or just generally the off season. We've got a lot to go over tonight, and we're going to try and get through everything as much as possible. Now, I will say this. Red, did you know that I'm on a bit of a diet?
What do you mean you're on a diet, man? A stiff breeze would blow your ass over.
You'd say that, but I am. Did you know that this week I lost 2.5 pounds without even knowing?
From where? Your hair?
No, that's coming next week. But
hey, no, that's great.
For whatever reason, yeah. No, and I've made the decision this week to tone down on the Chick-fil-A milkshakes and get that in order. Now, another thing I need to say, just like the name of the show, that was a load of FBS. Yeah. You can't blame me, man. Now, I was sent out to go get Chick-fil-A today for the entire family, and I was like, you know what? It's been a week. Not just for us content creators, it's been a week for you guys as well. A lot of you guys are coming off of some really, really bad losses, and you need a good therapy session or just need somebody to lay in on your team because you can't. But thankfully, we're here for that. We're going to try and lay into everybody and tell you all about it. So,
safe.
All that to say, let's get into it, shall we? First of all, before we get through anything else, we have to say goodbye. Yes, for the 4th time this year, we have to say goodbye to another head coach, another coach in the Power 5. Everybody's been getting their I guess every single conference has been getting one coach that's already been poached. First, we had Virginia Tech's Brett Pry, then UCLA's Deshaun Foster over in the Big Ten, Mike Gundy a week afterwards, and now here we are. It's just as announced yesterday. They didn't take any time doing it after that one. Our good boy from good old Pig Time, Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman was officially fired yesterday in the middle of the afternoon. We all sort of knew it was coming. They basically did the exact same thing Oklahoma State did with Mike Gundy, just in reverse, because Oklahoma State gets blown out by a contender. I guess a contender, if you want to call Notre Dame a contender. But no, Oklahoma State gets blown out by Oregon. Then they go and lose to a G5 team. Well, Arkansas loses at home to a G5 team, and then they get blown out by a contender in Notre Dame. And it was never competitive. It was maybe competitive for one quarter, and then Notre Dame just absolutely obliterated them, cooked them into bacon, and now they're being sold at your local Arby's. That's what happened to poor Arkansas. Well, to be honest, it was never at one point a competition. That everything here tells you that. But if you watch the game, you saw it. I mean, CJ Carr just tore apart that poor Arkansas defense. They're they're just dead all over the defense. Taylor Green did what he could, but that Notre Dame defense did more than enough to just shut him down completely. He had no touchdowns, only one interception. But yeah, no, CJ Carr went off 22 of 30, over 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Then their run game did pretty good. Jeremiah Love didn't do so good, only 57 yards. But then again, when you can just pick them apart through the air, why else would you need to run the ball? You know what I mean? So it was just an absolute domination from start to finish. Red, you got anything to add to that?
Poor piggies. It's the same old shit every fucking year with these hogs. Squids abandoning ship. It's the same old shit with these guys year in, year out. They get a new coach. They do okay for like a year and a half, and then everything just caves back in. This game in particular, specifically, it doesn't surprise me a bit. Just Arkansas was not built correct here. They're just not built to be a contender. They're not built to be a good team this season. The players they have are just not at the same level as you see on Notre Dame. CJ Carr, like you said, outstanding performance, throw 4 touchdowns, no picks, damn near 100 on his QBR. Funny enough, Jordan Faison has 100 QBR from his one pass. I don't know why he threw the ball once, but whatever. It is curious, though, about Jeremiah Love, isn't it, that he's apparently kind of coming up second on these carries and the yardage this season behind Jadarian Price, because you think Love is the one that kind of runs the ground game there, but in reality, Price he's been a fucking tank, getting on the ground and in some games outgaining Love. I don't know if the defensive coordinators have just tried to shut down Love and they just overlook Price or the depth they have at running back or what, but it makes no damn sense to me. Considering they probably run similar packages, unless they have different packages for them, and then that means Love's packages need to fucking change quickly.
I think it's a mix of a lot of things because not to cut you off there, but I think it's like they're trying to do the Penn State thing with the 1-2 punch, having 2 different running backs constantly running the football. And don't you worry, we'll get into that in just a minute. But yeah, you carry on. Sorry.
I mean, that makes sense. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, you got to have a solid offensive line up front to open up holes for you every single time if you're going to have a 1-2 punch running back. The fact that Jadarian Price is getting more yardage could be the fact that the formations that the line is that they're using when he's in there just work better. It could just be that simple. Or maybe Love fell off. I mean, maybe he's playing hurt. We just don't know it. Who the fuck really knows? the bottom of it is this: Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They're going to continue to Notre Dame it, and they beat up the doormat of the SEC. And by the way, Arkansas, congratulations, you are officially the doormat of the SEC once more. Way to fucking go, Idaho. I don't think there's a worse team in this conference right now than the Arkansas Razorbacks. And you got fucking Florida hanging around there. That says a lot. How is Florida a better put together squad than the fucking Hogs right now?
God, such a shame they don't play each other this year.
Yeah, right? Like, that would be the ultimate fucking SEC tank bowl. Whoever loses gets a boot up their ass from Greg Sankey. It just, I don't surprise me that Pittman got fired. If anything, they did exactly what I predicted. I tweeted out on Saturday after the loss. I said, he ain't making it to Monday. Sure enough, Sunday afternoon, out the door. And that's because Arkansas was going into a bye week. That's the main reason why they went ahead and they canned him, because they're going to go ahead and use all of this week and next week to get the new people installed to get this team trying to have some semblance of fucking production the rest of the season, which, oh God, Arkansas, I don't know what was worse, the guy you fired or the guy you just brought in as the interim, because guess who's fucking back? It is good old. Did you?
I don't have a motorcycle soundboard up.
We did miss you.
Woo! Welcome back, Bobby P. As he said, we don't miss you one bit, but welcome back. Welcome back.
3 people today. The defensive coordinator, 2 defensive assistants are out the door.
It took no time. He's already trying to run the program. He just got here yesterday. Chill out. Now, we'll say this. There's a lot of time left in this season. Arkansas is 2-3 right now. They get 4 wins this season and go bowling. I can assure you that man is your next Arkansas head coach. Right now, he's set as the interim. I think even if they go 5-7, there's the possibility Bobby P becomes the new head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. But no, if they go bowling, that man Bobby P, that's your new Arkansas Razorbacks head coach.
Yeah, bottom line.
A new one coming back.
Go bowling because he's getting out everybody he didn't fucking like, and he's just gonna have a skeleton crew working the rest of the way. If they win 4 games, they might make him permanent head coach. Who the hell knows at this point?
Well, he's doing everything he can because I'm pretty sure they're on a bye this week. And then guess what happens? Right afterwards, they come into Knoxville.
Yeah, they're dead. They're fucking.
We remember, y'all. Trust me, we remember. Yeah. If this was on the road, I'd be crapping all over myself right now. But thankfully, it's not. This is at home. Sorry, good old Bacon Boys. You're cooked. All right. But yeah,
you're dead.
That's the story of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Once again, they beat themselves per the norm. What's changed? This is all what we ask ourselves. What has indeed changed? Absolutely nothing. All right. Well, let's go to another. You want to talk about somebody who's really feeling the agony right now, and this is kind of predictable. We all know this to be the case. The ACC is tank conference. We all know it. It's a absolute mess of a conference with all the contenders falling when they don't or shouldn't be. One of them fell Friday night, and it was a phenomenal game. I'll say that much, but welcome back, Tank Knowles. Good to see you. Good to see you. We missed you. Y'all go cry to ESPN again. Y'all getting ready to cry about SEC bias and the polls because Bama's ranked ahead of you? Are y'all getting ready to do that? This is what Florida State fans, I mean, they are crying big time about being ranked below Bama. They're like, well, we beat Bama, so we should be. Okay, then why is Virginia not ranked ahead of you, you absolute morons? Does that not apply? Does it only apply when you win? That's not how it works. Up yours. This is what you get. Don't go on the road and then let this guy Chandler Morris throw and do whatever he wants to all over you. Don't let up more than 400 yards of offense next time. And then maybe things will turn out in your way. But, of course, that isn't how they turned out. Tommy Castellanos, despite the stats, did not have a good day at all. Threw 2 interceptions, only 1 touchdown. He ran the ball pretty well. I mean, this wasn't his worst performance I've ever seen, but he just at no point was he really able to get it together fully. And Red, I'll let you take over here because I know you've got a lot to say. Hell, you got an entire series about these guys. So rip him a new one, buddy.
I'm not gonna do that whole fucking thing. You thought for a second, didn't you, motherfucker? No, wait till Thursday when the video comes out, then you'll see it. Yeah, welcome back to hell. Me, I thought I was done with these assholes, but unfortunately, I am not. This just screams looking ahead because thinking about it now, after I've had a couple of days to digest and actually see what's coming up, you know who Florida State has this Saturday, Squid?
Who?
Miami.
Yeah,
they got caught
right.
Looking ahead. Like, you could say Tommy Castellanos had a bad game. I mean, look at the fucking stats. He sure as shit had a bad game. And the Florida State defense got caught napping and they weren't prepared, which no fucking shit. Chandler Morris made mincemeat out of them despite the 3 interceptions he threw. He was pretty damn sloppy too. But they got caught looking ahead big time here because Virginia jumped on them 14-0 in the blink of an eye before they even did anything. They came back and scored 21 points in the second quarter to take a lead going into the half, or to try to tie it going into the half, I should say. And then was back and forth, bang, 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 because they had to adjust on the fly. And to cap it all off, man, just some of the fucking plays I saw from Florida State and Virginia to a certain respect, but from Florida State towards the end of that game just really just fucking scratched my head. The decision, the play call on the 4th and goal, or the 4th down play in double overtime, the one that they went with, instead of going for the first down, they went for the end zone. I was desperation at its finest. I think Castellanos was getting chased around the pocket, and he had to make a decision there. But I mean, why are you just chucking it across the field like that? It makes no fucking sense. It just kind of shows. The whole game to me showed that Castellanos, number one, is mortal. Number two, the Florida State, yeah, they're a lot better than they were last year. Fuck, last year Virginia would have rolled them over like a pancake. But it also shows that this team is very much still a developing progress here. Tony White's a great defensive coordinator. I got no bullshit to say about him. Gus Malzahn, we have our thoughts about him, though. The Gus bus caught a fucking blaze in this one, despite the 38 points being scored. I don't know what Virginia did, to be completely honest with you here. They just showed the fuck up and showed out. And for one night in Charlottesville, Virginia, everything was magical for the Who's in Whoville. But I think it's going to be back to reality next week for them. And I also think it's going to be back to reality for the Seminoles, because with Miami coming to Tallahassee on Saturday, it's kind of win or go home here for the Seminoles now. Now you got one loss in the ACC. If you get a second loss in this conference right now, the way everything is standing, let me look actually currently at the standings real fast here. How many teams still have like an undefeated record in conference play? I'm not going to count the one losses. Georgia Tech, Louisville is undefeated.
Yep.
Miami is undefeated.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. Okay. It's a wide open conference right now. But then you got a couple of one losses, guys like Virginia and your Cals. I don't know what the fuck you're doing over there, Cal. Jesus Christ, 4-1.
No.
And then Florida State's 3-1. But that's it. It's literally just them the rest of the way. So, great, a couple of guys still haven't even opened up conference play yet, and it's a bit early to decipher this. But you got to think, you got the top team in the ACC, arguably in the Miami Hurricanes right now, coming into Tallahassee. If they win this game, they're favorites to win the conference, I think, by a mile. And I'm already thinking Georgia Tech, Miami for the ACC championship at this moment. I don't think Louisville's going to last. I don't think Cal's going to have a chance to make it all the way through. They just got too many parts that are still being developed there. Virginia, who the fuck knows what Chandler Morris does? He could go on a God mode run. There's a lot of questions here, but with how chaotic it is, Tank Conference is very interesting this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about Florida State. Give a little shout out to Georgia Tech where it's due. Of course, they beat Wake Forest in an overtime thriller. I mean, that was a bad day. Bad day by the Georgia Tech defense. Not the best day for Haynes King. He had to do the entire thing on his own. The run game just couldn't get going. It was it was the Haynes King show. That's what it was for Georgia Tech offensively, and that's how it's always been. But Wake Forest, I mean, they put up a really good fight. Kind of really, left Georgia Tech's defense aloof the entire game. Robbie Ashford was doing a pretty good job chucking on him. But then, of course, he goes down with an injury. I know he came back in the fourth quarter, but what I do know is that it sort of felt that after the first half, Wake Forest offense just really sort of never recovered from that. And they sort of just limped their way the rest of the way through. And then when the game went into overtime, they just said, screw it. We're already weak as is. We're going to try and win this game off a 2-point conversion. Yeah. And then they run a friggin' wheel route. and that's how they go out and lose the game, by doing one of the dumbest possible plays you can do in that position. I said it when talking about Wake Forest when they lost on my live stream. Going for 2 in overtime when you only need 1 should be reserved for a massive underdog or for a team that's on the road. And neither of those things happened. Wake Forest was at home. They had the crowd on their side. The students were preparing to rush the field in the third quarter. Like they were ready to rush that field, but Georgia Tech found a way, and that's all you need to do, as we know in college football. They're 5-0. They're undefeated. And that's all you really need to do is survive and thrive. That's the name of the game in college football.
Yeah. Bad day at the office for the Jackets for sure. You're going to have these games. If you are any sane, normal football team in college football, the road to perfection is paved with potholes. So you're going to have games like these where you're going to hit a pothole and you're going to have to learn a lesson or two. And hopefully you make it out unscathed. The Jackets made it out by the skin of their fucking teeth here. Like, bar none. The offense just did not show up in the first half at all. It wasn't until the third quarter where they finally got it going. And even then, it was them just clawing and scratching and just fighting desperately to get back in this fucker, which they did. Give them credit. They fucking did all right. Haynes King definitely, got shut down in this game. I don't think it was bad performance on his part. I think the defense definitely covered up his options really well. And, he just was contained really, really, he was really tightly contained on the ground as well. 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. It's on the surface, it's pretty good, but you look at all his passing yards and statistics on passing, he did not do that great in the office. I'm more concerned at this point about making sure that defense is keeping everything locked up, because you're going to get games like this as you go down the rest of the season, and you're going to get tight games against teams you didn't think you were going to have to compete against. And what's going to matter is your quarterback still able to work? And if he can't work, is your defense able to step up and make plays? I didn't really see that in this game. I didn't see the defense step up and make plays in this game. Wake Forest just kind of ran out of gas on Georgia Tech, in my opinion, which, give credit to them. Maybe not the best play call to try to win the game in overtime, but you got to have the cojones to really pull a fucking move like that and try to do that against, a top-ranked team in your conference. You got nothing else to play for but pride, so fuck it. Go for it all. I don't mind that. No hate, no hating there. The Deeks, for God's sake, they got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this, and I've already seen comments about this, and I saw it with Florida State too. Look, this is something we all know, and this doesn't even just go for the ACC, but it is especially common with the ACC. The refs are brain dead. The refs have no idea what they're doing. They're stupid. They call the wrong plays all the time. They make wrong calls. They make stupid calls. They miss obvious calls. We know this to be the case. I said the same thing about Florida State when I saw that game too. On that final third down in overtime, Castellanos throws a deep ball, it gets juggled as the guy catches it, and then as his last foot gets out, it looks like he had his hands on it. I thought it was a catch, but the refs ruled it incomplete. And then that's pretty much how Florida State lost the game. And then Wake Forest fans and Wake Forest, everybody who watched that game are like, Wake Forest got hosed and all that. And I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with you, but let's be real here. Refs are never the reason why you lose a game. It's the same lesson Auburn had to learn the last week. They're not the reason you lose the game. They're just the result of what happens when you blow it. And that's exactly what Wake Forest did. That's exactly what Florida State did. They blew it. They blew it. You should have done something in the red zone when you had the chance. Then maybe you would have beat Georgia Tech. Florida State should have done more, should have done anything on defense. Then they would have had the chance. They wouldn't have had to put it in the ACC refs' hands, because that's never a good thing. To put it in the refs' hands, I promise you, will always end in somebody getting mad. And that's exactly what happened. And it's not just them. It's every single ref ball industry in the country. And that's why everybody's got a problem with refs. Blaming the loss on refs is nothing more than a pathetic excuse for a piss poor performance. Exactly. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. So, like at the end of the day, don't play yourself into a position where you're looking at how the refs did harder than how you did on the game film. Point blank. I told that in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you there. Now, there's some people who blame the refs, some people who blame their offense, some people who blame their defense. There's only one man you can blame for a loss like this one, and that's everybody's favorite Mr. Burger King, Brian Kelly. Because guess what? Just like they always do, LSU goes out there as an overrated team and loses in the LSU way. Coming up just short. And we both predicted this, Red, that this would be a pretty good game. Probably low-scoring defensive matchup. LSU kind of did a good job holding down Trinidad Chambliss for as long as they did. But since Nussmeier and the LSU offense couldn't do anything, guess what? They came apart. And here's the funniest part about this for me, okay? We talked about this a couple weeks ago when LSU beat Florida. Brian Kelly goes on that insane unhinged rant in the press box, and they ask him, well, your run game did not look good. And I was like, what do you mean our run game wasn't good? Look at that final play. You're going to say our run game isn't good? You're absolutely ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous. Our run game is one of the best in the country. Our run game can be as good as however we want it to be. Yeah, so let's come back to that, shall we? 59 yards rushing. Your highest rusher was Harlan Berry, 22 yards and 1 touchdown. Red, prove me wrong, but does that sound like a great rushing attack to you?
Hang on. No.
Yeah.
No. It looks like absolute horse shit.
It was. That's absolutely what it was. And it was just so funny how Brian Kelly thought, we got the best rushing offense in the country. We can do no wrong. I can do no wrong. Looks like you did some wrong here, because you said you got a great rushing offense. You said your rushing offense wasn't a problem. Guess what? It's a problem. Yeah. What? Wow, no way. Brian Kelly was wrong about something? Mind blown. And I'm sure I didn't see what he said after the game, but I'm sure he took no blame for himself. I'm sure he blamed it on the coordinators, Nussmeier, the offense, or he probably blamed it on the defense too. The defense is what kept you close in this game. And even when Trinidad Chambliss had over 300 yards, they did great in red zone protection, but there's only so much you can ask for when your offense isn't there, when you don't have a run game. And in the end, Ole Miss gets the jump on you, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this is point blank about as big of a sign as you can possibly have that you're going to be eating a fat plate of shit after this one, because 59 yards rushing in any game is pathetic. All Ole Miss has to do is just dare them to run the ball. Or like, that's all they did in this game. They just sold out on the pass, shut down Garrett Nussmeier, and their rushing attack, which is non-existent, is just taken care of. So it just, that's all there is to it. I'll be right back in a second. I got somebody asking for me at the door.
No worries. So this is what just makes this so ironic about this entire situation. And this is why LSU fans are going to hate me for this take, but it's the truth. I can assure you are never winning a national championship and probably never winning the SEC under Brian Kelly. And it's because when something is wrong with their team, when something is wrong with a Brian Kelly team, it doesn't change. We saw it with the defense for several years under BK. The defense was it was a liability for LSU under, great quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, and it never got fixed. It never changed. It was always the same repetitive pile of diarrhea every single week. And now here we are, LSU's offense is not so good anymore. The passing game's fine. The passing game is certainly not a problem. 197 yards for Nussmeier. Probably not his best performance, but at least it's something doable. But you have no run game. None in sight. And I'll tell you now, and we're gonna come back to this later. I'm sure we will. That's gonna last throughout the rest of the season. LSU is not gonna have a run game for the foreseeable future, and they're probably not gonna have a run game for the entire year. So I hate that it turned out that way for y'all, but that's exactly how it's going to be, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna find out real quick because guess who comes to town in a few weeks after they play Alabama? That's right, good old Vandy boys. The Vandy boys are coming down, and correct me if I'm wrong. That game's on the road. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. So LSU's got to go on the road into Nashville to play Vandy, and they're going to give you all a fight. And the way things look, I've got you all losing that game. We'll have to see what they do against Alabama. We're going to talk about their game. We'll talk about Bama in just a minute too. But yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into that, shall we? We'll go Rich chair over there. Yeah, no. Whopper, 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 Junior Double, Triple Whopper. That's the name of the BK offense. And it's never going to improve. That's the thing about a BK team is that you're never going to improve. What you see week 1 is exactly the same thing you're going to see in week 14. The only time things are going to change is if the quarterback gets injured, and it's usually always going to get worse for you. So sorry to tell you, this is why BK's been been at Notre Dame for as long as he haven't ever won a championship. It's why he's at LSU now and can't win a championship. Sometimes when he gets out of his own way, he can win a big game or two. But I can assure you, he's never going to win that big one. He's never going to get you guys to that space. I mean, you've seen it all too many times. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He's never going to get you that big win that you're looking for. That's just the way it is. This milkshake's pretty good. All right. Let's roll into the next game, shall we? And I'm sure Red will be back in just a minute, so I'll let him touch on this one too. But we got to go ahead and talk about it. Guess what? The reverse jinx worked. Because I told you guys. I was saying, Bama they shouldn't even show up for this game. They're going to get blown out by 1,000,000 points. Georgia's just a way better team in every facet of the game. Georgia's always had Bama's number. It all came to fruition, didn't it? Everything always works out. It's the cycle of life, okay? Tennessee can't beat Georgia. Georgia can't beat Bama. Bama can't beat Vanderbilt. That's the cycle of life. And it all came to fruition once again this past week. And I think we all agree on this. Georgia did not look like the Georgia team we're used to seeing. They looked sort of vanilla. They looked overly aggressive when they didn't need to be. Georgia could have tied up the ball game, but Kirby decided, you know what, we're going to try and trick them and go for it. And that failed miserably. They just couldn't really get much of anything going together. It's kind of the same thing that happens every time they play Bama. It's a continuous, overwhelming process that Georgia continues to go through. Gunnar Stockton, 13 of 20, 130 yards. I mean, you see it. The Mike Bobo offense just gets extremely conservative against teams like Alabama, and it always winds up never paying out for him, especially now that Georgia's defense isn't as dominant as it was in previous years. I think we can tell all that we need to know based on the Tennessee game. Tennessee, they let Tennessee score 41 on them. And I mean, we saw it here. Bama's offense isn't necessarily the best either, but it was good enough to get the job done. And not only that, but Bama, I think there is a sort of inferiority complex going on here, because I do think that the status of Bama constantly lives inside of the mind of Kirby Smart and Georgia. You see it with the way they play. You see it overly conservative and aggressive when they don't need to be. That pretty much describes Georgia's offense, Georgia's entire play style against Alabama. And it's made all the worse with the fact that Mike Bobo is your offensive coordinator. So Of course, we had to wave goodbye to Georgia's extremely long home game streak. The longest running one has now been removed by none other than Kirby's daddy, Alabama. And it's absolutely strange that Kalen DeBoer is 0-1 versus Florida State, but 2-0 versus Georgia. I can never wrap my head around that. But yeah, Ty Simpson had a really good game, 276 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Jam Miller, 46 yards, Kevin Riley, 30, Jermaine Bernard, 20. 117 total yards rushing. Bama didn't even really do all that much on offense. I mean, they really didn't, but Georgia just kept kind of doing much of nothing. And well, we all saw how that turned out. Kirby isn't the same as he was in 2022. Well, I don't think it's that Kirby isn't the same. I think it's that Georgia as a whole isn't the same, because they've always had this problem against Alabama. They had this problem since the first time Kirby played Alabama back in 2017. Sort of overly conservative offense when it doesn't need to be. And the only time that changed was in the 2021 national championship, where Georgia actually beat Alabama. And I'm not sure why they're so afraid to go back to that. And I don't get why Georgia is just so afraid to test Bama where they need to test them. They almost beat them last year, going on the road in Tuscaloosa. So it doesn't. I can't seem to wrap my head around it, and I don't think any Georgia fans can seem to wrap their head around the fact that they're owned by Alabama. But it's great news for Squidtard, great news for college football, and great news for the internet, because now a lot of these usual bandwagon Georgia fans that always arrive at 3 weeks within the season, well, you get to wave bye-bye to them. Chances are a lot of them have already deleted their accounts, gone on extended mental health breaks. We won't be seeing them for probably the rest of the season. It just all sort of depends on how the rest of the year goes for them. If they win the SEC, like they very well possibly could, then yeah, we'll probably see them again. But the way this looks, it doesn't look to me like Georgia's a national championship team this year. To me, it doesn't look like anybody in the SEC's at that national championship caliber yet. Ironically enough, the best team I've seen just overall from top to bottom is probably Ole Miss. It's probably Ole Miss. They got a great offense when they need to be. They got a great defense. They seem to be the most well-rounded team. I would say Vanderbilt, but you let up 35 points against something called Utah State, and no, not even close. Not even close. Like none of these SEC teams besides Ole Miss, obviously we know Florida and Kentucky and Arkansas, they're all terrible. Tennessee can't get out of their own way. We'll talk about them in just a minute. Bama at least looked dominant in this game, but will that continue? I don't know. Their offense didn't look all that near dominant in this one. Georgia, same thing. They get way too conservative when they don't need to be. LSU, that really kind of explains it for itself. Did I mention Florida sucks? Yeah, I think I did. South Carolina too. South Carolina really disappointed me. Yeah. I've been a Georgia fan since the Richt years. Then I'm sure this reminded you a lot of that. That's the thing. This game is a heavy reminder of the Mark Richt days because of just how kind of weak the offense looked. And I don't know if that's a Mike Bobo production, or maybe it's Kirby limiting their offense. Because if that's a problem too, if Kirby is limiting the offense. Welcome back, Red.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good. Well, we were just sitting here talking about this absolute turd staying right here. Georgia getting decimated by Alabama again. Shocking revelation, I know. It's great news for college football, which I've already touched on. So you go ahead and let us know what your thoughts are.
Ooh. What is it about Alabama that Kirby Smart just can't fucking get past here? They're the weakest Alabama team we've seen in quite some time. The most favorable game for Georgia to be coming into to play Alabama in quite some time. Home field advantage, 33-game home winning streak. Fucking up in smoke, just like that. Gunnar Stockton just absolutely was a non-factor in this game. The rushing attack, they had pretty good production on the ground with Chauncey Bowens, but didn't get a lot of points out of it regardless. They just didn't show up. Just straight up, they did not show up in this game. They got shut out in the first, shut out in the fourth, got a few points in the middle there, but just couldn't get anything going. Genuinely, it fucking shocked me a little bit, honestly, because of that. Because, we've seen Georgia kind of come out fast and furious in these games, and I don't know if that means that it's just the Alabama curse. I don't know if it means that Kirby can't plan around Alabama. I don't know if Alabama is getting better as the weeks go on, which is fucking frightening to think about. But this is just one of those results where you really just scratch your head if you're a Bulldog fan and be like, what the fuck do we got to do to beat these sons of bitches? What do we got to do to, do this shit? Because now the SEC is an absolute, it's an absolute war zone. Is there anybody left that's unbeaten in the SEC besides Texas A&M? Genuinely. Is there anybody left?
Anybody unbeaten?
Yeah, in the SEC.
Ole Miss.
That's
yeah.
it. Ole Miss and Texas A&M.
Vandy.
Vandy.
Don't forget Vandy.
How could I have forgotten Vanderpin?
Game day's coming to Tuscaloosa this week.
Yep,
Just
they got
saying,
a date with Grandma.
Oh boy, good old Vandy.
Yeah, they gotta go into Tuscaloosa. Good fucking luck with that, guys.
I'll be streaming the game at 3:00. By the way, as voted on by the fans. So yeah, you guys stay tuned for that. Real quick, we got a super chat from Not JFKH. Appreciate it, buddy. $5 super chat says, as the old passes the torch to the new and the fires die to embers, we may remember the faults and mistakes of the past and pave the way for the future. Tell it like it is. And then we have one from Katie Nova Neko. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Who would you rather be your coach, James Franklin or Brian Kelly? James Franklin, because at least James Franklin has gotten that far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess I would still go with James Franklin because I pity James Franklin. I fucking despise Brian Kelly.
That's the difference. Yeah, that's the major difference. It'd be like asking the question, who would you want as your head coach? Sam Pittman or Billy Napier? Because Sam Pittman at least is a nice guy. He's got that going for him. He was one of the nicest coaches in the SEC.
Was
that ain't Billy? That is not Billy. Not exactly his forte.
Nope.
But yeah, Georgia goes down again. The SEC looks as submissive as it ever could be. And it certainly doesn't help when you have some teams that can't seem to get out of their own way. And it is I'll tell you what, Red. I'm going to tell you what. The football gods, for once in a lifetime, have blessed the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm not sure why the curse suddenly decided that we weren't worthy of being executed again on this day. But for whatever reason that may be, I'll take it, because this was most certainly a game that we should have lost. Tennessee wins against Mississippi State on the road in overtime. An upset-heavy Mississippi State that was 4-0 and undefeated. Gave the Tennessee defense, gave the Tennessee team all they wanted and more. And a lot of that was definitely due to the fact that Tennessee just kept shaking themselves, shooting themselves in the foot, multiple turnovers where they weren't needed. People were getting on Joey Aguilar on my stream for that. And there were things about Aguilar that definitely agitated me quite a bit. Really, really high passes when they didn't need to be. But a lot of those turnovers, specifically the 2 interceptions and everything else, that was all on drop passes. Braylon Staley, for whatever reason, we have a receiver back there that can't catch. It's like having an offensive lineman that can't block, or a quarterback that can't throw, or a running back that doesn't have legs. Like what are we doing here? This guy, Braylon Staley, literally, he does not have arms. He fumbles the punt return that gave Mississippi State the first touchdown of the day. And he dropped so many passes, one of which was bobbled in the air and intercepted by a Mississippi State man and goal in the red zone. So now State, all they need is like 20 yards to get down and score. So of course they were able to torch our defense because of that. They didn't even really get that many yards. Tennessee nearly doubled them in total yardage. Joey Aguilar more than about doubled Blake Shapen's total passing yards. And a lot of their points were due to the fact that Tennessee kept shaking themselves in the foot and giving them the ball in positive field position. So, of course, State took advantage of it, and they almost wound up winning the game because of it. And that entire experience for me was just absolute hell, because the entire time I'm thinking, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. This is how we lose. We keep blowing it. How do we keep blowing it? And then it all centralized itself on that final drive that Tennessee had in regulation. Tennessee gets the ball. Ball game's tied up at 34 apiece. Tennessee, all they need to do is get in a field goal range and they can kick the game-winning field goal. It's very similar to exactly what the Georgia game was like. You know, you leave it up to the kick of Max Gilbert, which, you know, kind of don't want to do that. But nonetheless, we had a shot. So Tennessee gets into midfield, gets past midfield to like the 45-yard line with 14 seconds left. They run the ball up the middle with 2 timeouts and 14 seconds left on the clock. And that's more than enough time to do something with. Forget all the other time that Josh Heupel wasted. You got 14 seconds and 1 timeout, and all you need is 10 yards to get in a field goal range. All you need is 1 quick pass, and then that's how you are. Even if Max Gilbert missed the field goal, at least you put an attempt there. Nope. Guess what Josh Heupel does? For whatever unknown, unbelievable reason, he just says, nope, you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? I'm just going to sit right here and watch the clock go down to 0. And I literally was sitting here and I was watching this go down, and the entire time I was like, all right, we're going to take that time out. We're going to take the time out. We're going to take the time out. We're going to take the time out. Take the time out. That's literally what I was saying the entire time, and he never did. He never did, not until there was 3 seconds left on the clock. But at that point, all you could do was throw the Hail Mary. So that was incredibly boneheaded clock management by Josh Heupel. Some of the worst I have ever seen. I don't know what was going on through his head. I don't know. Because, again, we had this exact same problem in the Georgia game where, for whatever reason, you get into a spot where you can get in a field goal range, but then you screw yourselves out of it by doing something stupid. So instead of, he does that thing where he tries to chew out the clock, but he did it way too early when we had a chance to get 10 or 15 or potentially 20 more yards and then kick the game-winning field goal. But no, for whatever reason, he does something incredibly stupid, takes it into overtime, and thankfully, off of the bend but don't break Tim Beggs defense, Tennessee comes through in the end, somehow wins on the road against Mississippi State. And it was one of the most ugliest performances I have seen under the Josh Heupel era, which isn't surprising. It's another road game where Tennessee just can't get out of their own way. Literally, the only thing that saved them in the end was the talent fee. That's it. Literally, the talent fee was the thing that saved them in the end. So I'm very thankful for that. So I don't know what it's going to take. Any more stupid crap like that, and this team is not going anywhere near the national championship. That's just the truth. I don't know what it is. Josh Heupel could blow out teams that are well below him, but whenever it comes to these games where it's clutch time and you're going blow for blow, for whatever reason, the coaching is just absolutely brain dead. I don't understand it. So we've got a bye week to rest up, and then we've got the Piggies coming to town. So basically 2 bye weeks in a row. And then we get into the rough stretch as we go to Tuscaloosa. Eventually down the line, we go to Gainesville. We got Lexington somewhere in between that. We got some of these road matchups where things could get potentially scary. And the last thing we need is another loss that takes us out of playoff contention, because that was bad. That was ugly. I hated watching that. The only thing I got out of it is that we won in the end.
Congrats. You won your game. That's the nicest thing I could say about it. This was a very interesting situation to witness for Tennessee, because Joey Aguilar, we're used to seeing him being pretty pinpoint accurate, and his numbers went to shit. Granted, 335 yards passing looks pretty good on the surface, but then you see completions per attempts, and you realize, oh, no, it was not. It was not the good day in the office, especially when those 2 interceptions that he through late in the game. I don't have much more to add. I mean, you pretty much dissected this thing like a frog in 7th grade class. What I am going to say is that obviously this shit cannot happen again for Tennessee. If Mississippi State's done incredible work rebuilding their team over the offseason to become anything close to relevant again. They did a great job over there in Stark Vegas. And to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Volunteers, it's great. I don't think that's because of the fact that Mississippi State's just this supremely good team and no one was paying attention to them. I think it's because Tennessee just straight up got caught overlooking what they seemed to see as an inferior opponent. The Cowbells were fucking loud as shit in Starkville. And, maybe it was just a deer in the headlight moments for them. But I I am genuinely on the train of, again, this is probably another team that is going to have a bad game that's going to they're going to see on the way to a long road to a successful season in the long run. Tennessee's still very much alive for SEC title hopes, still very much in the running for a playoff spot. None of that's in doubt still. But damn, yeah, you got pretty damn close on Saturday. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
Well, it's just like I said for Georgia Tech, survive and thrive. That's the name of the game right there.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Survive in advance.
All you can do. That's all there is to it, man. Well, it's already 9:00, so I guess we'll. There are a couple more games that we could touch on. I'll obviously do my weekly shout outs like I've done with everybody else. But first, obviously I do want to let you go ahead and just dissect this one because, y'all escaped the grasp of an upset against Washington on the road.
Yeah. Don't let that final fool you. Don't let that final fool you. I already kind of discussed this at length with the guys over at the Ohio podcast. Shout out to those guys. I was on their show last night for their weekly roundtable discussion. Great Buckeye talk. If you're interested in catching any of that, go check out the Ohio podcast. It's on my channel, linked in the posts. This game, bar none, we had there's a couple of different opinions on this one. My opinion is we came out a little flat on offense and didn't execute as well as we could have. We offensively were either not hitting our marks or we were playing extremely conservative. And the reason why I say that is you look at those numbers for Julian Sayin. 22 for 28 is pretty goddamn accurate. That's a good day at the office when you add in 2 touchdowns, but only 200 yards passing out of that. Not a ton of long balls, not a ton of great work and production. Jeremiah Smith, top wide receiver, 81 yards, a touchdown, fairly solid. But we started off the game completely flat. Turnover on downs, punting the ball. Didn't really get anything going until the second quarter with a Jeremiah Smith touchdown. That was a thing of beauty. And then in the second half, it was just we leaned all the way on defense. I can't believe I'm saying this. Matt Patricia, organized defense, smoked the Huskies. They shut them down completely. Washington did not get in the end zone once. And keep in mind, this team is putting 30, 40, 50 points a game up on their opponents. They couldn't even get 1 touchdown in this game. We kept Devin Williams Jr. in check. He didn't have a bad game in terms of passing or whatever. He didn't throw any picks, but he also didn't throw any touchdowns. We kept them contained. We kept the running attack contained. I can't remember what the total yards was. I don't see that right here in front of me here for offense, but I think we held them to about 250, 260 total yards of offense in this game, which is pretty goddamn good for a defense. It was a virtual shutout if you just talk about keeping them out of the end zone. And 7 sacks by that defense, fucking unreal. Well done to Caden Curry on that Ohio State defensive side. He was responsible for 4 of the sacks and 11 tackles, a bunch of tackles for loss. Defensively, I'm extremely happy right now. Extremely happy with our defense. I gave them a letter grade of A last night on the podcast. Offense, I want to see more. I'm being very, very hopeful that they're just taking their time with Julian Sayin and protecting him and just trying to make sure he's not getting exposed early, like what we see at Texas with Arch getting exposed early in the season. I hope that's the case. I don't know if that's the case because I'm not a mind reader, not JFKH. To be fair, Matt Patricia was an amazing coordinator, and he's proving his worth right here 100%.
Appreciate the 2, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate the 2. 100%. He's a good coordinator. I had my reservations coming into the season. I had my reservations about Chip Kelly last year being offensive coordinator, and I had to eat a big old plate of shit when we won the national title. I have had my reservations about Matt Patricia being the defensive coordinator, and so far he's making me eat shit. I have no problem eating shit if we're winning games, and my concerns are just thrown to the wayside because we're winning. But you cannot start out slow like this and expect to win every single time. You want to know why? We started out slow like this in the last half of the season last year. What the fuck happens? We lose to Michigan. We don't even make the Big Ten championship. We had to go through the hard way to win the national championship. Sorry about that, Tennessee. You're welcome, maybe, because he got rid of Nico.
Okay, good. Fair point.
I mean, fair trade, right?
Oh, very.
So, I mean,
they're currently winless, by the way.
Yeah, well,
them and Oregon State are the only winless teams, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know.
In the power play, UMass is also winless.
Oh, great. Who cares?
They are the worst team in FBS, UMass, by a fucking mile. They are the worst team. They just got smoked by Bo Prabula and Mizzou. By the way, why does that name sound so familiar to Penn State fans, I wonder? Bo Prabula.
Speaking of which, oh boy, it's everyone's favorite September tradition. Guess what, everybody? Penn State lost another big game. Look at that. Once again, everyone's favorite tradition. Usually this is a tradition passed down from Ohio State or Michigan before anybody else, but they do it again, everybody. Penn State goes out, even with a whiteout crowd, even with the loudest environment in a long time for Oregon to deal with. Guess what? It's still not enough. Oregon comes back down by a few, or excuse me, Penn State. It was actually a pretty competitive game. It was 10-3 going into the fourth quarter. Then, Penn State does their stuff. Oregon comes back, ties up the ball game, goes into overtime. It's a brawl all the way till the end. And then Drew Aller does what Drew Aller does best, just like he did against Notre Dame, and throws the game away with an interception. This couldn't be any more predictable than it already was. Penn State's offense was pretty much flaccid through the entire way. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton only had 21 yards. Katron Allen only had 54. Aller was 137 with 2 touchdowns, and then of course the game-losing interception. But that compares none to the likes of Dante Moore with 3 touchdowns, a really good passing completion percentage, 248 yards. They ran the ball better. They did pretty much offensively. They did everything better than Penn State could have. So, in all honesty, Oregon deserved to win this game, and they showed it on the field. So, Oregon, they proved they're the better team in this matchup. And more importantly, they proved that Penn State is the same Penn State they've always been. No matter how much talent they have, they just cannot get out of their own way in the big games.
We knew this was going to happen. Like, we called this to a T last week. We both agreed that Penn State was going to fuck this up somehow and lose in Happy Valley, because it just like as guaranteed as the sun rises, Penn State loses to a top 10 team. Doesn't matter if it's at home or on the road. No, we're not going to mention the playoffs because I am not going to really count Boise State as being a top 10 team considering what we know now in the Fiesta Bowl, because you still got your asses whipped by Notre Dame right after. James Franklin is Penn State's John Cooper. I cannot make a better comparison between the two. You win all these games. You're a relatively successful coach, yet you always shit the bed in the games that you have to win to be national title or Big Ten title contenders. You always shit the bed against Ohio State, Michigan. Now it's the fucking Ducks. At what point does Penn State realize, hey, I don't know about y'all, I like winning, but this fucker's cursed, and there's a very distinct lack of hardware in our trophy room right now. He's been here for nearly a decade, and this is all we got? Yeah, we could probably do better, couldn't we? Yeah, you could do better. Penn State needs to cut James Franklin like a cancerous tumor and go find their own Jim Tressel, because this guy, at a certain point, okay, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Penn State's acting entitled. They could be, they could have so much worse. But at a certain point, if you're Penn State, like, you got to shit or get off the pot. Are you going to be like Minnesota and Iowa, where you're just okay winning 8-9 games a year and just being middle of the road? Or are you going to try to be national champions? Because staying with James Franklin, you're not going to be national champions. I can fucking promise you that. The dude is the exact opposite of clutch. And when they play Ohio State, it's going to be a loss. When they play Indiana, it's going to be a loss. 100%. You're going 9-3 this year, guys. I hate to tell you. You're not even going to see the playoffs. And if James Franklin is not able to change the system, at a certain point, it's no longer the players you have. Because I can shit on Drew Allar all day. But he's been in that system at Penn State for his entire career. And if he is not improving, at a certain point, it's no longer the player, it's the system. And the system needs to change if Happy Valley is ever going to be fucking happy again. That's my thoughts.
I mean, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. I don't think firing or even getting rid of James Franklin would be the right move, because we all know this with college football. I mean, a lot of the same things we're talking about with James Franklin right now are the same things they were saying about Ryan Day before last year. I'm just throwing that out there. That's the truth.
Okay.
It is the truth.
Big difference. Against Michigan. Yeah, I would agree. Against Michigan, I would agree. But every other games that he was involved with, most of the other games he was involved with, they won. All right? I'm just going to make that clear there. But I get what you're saying. The main reason why I'm making the case that James Franklin should Penn State should at least consider it is because it's so fucking similar to John Cooper at Ohio State. Like, it's not even fucking funny, dude. Like, John Cooper was one of the winningest head coaches in Ohio State history. What does he have to show for it? Got a couple of big bowl wins. That's it.
Here's what we know with college football is all you need if you're in that right spot, and even if you're in clutch time, all you need is a little stroke of luck, unlike Red's internet, and you can win the game that way. Here he is. Welcome back.
Yeah, I crashed out on you because I disagreed what you were saying so much. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, you just crashed.
There's
a
a
little
little
different.
Randomly. Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, anyway, we're already short on time, so let's do our weekly shout-outs. First of all right, let's shout out our undefeateds real fast. Houston, undefeated, though they're very lucky to be undefeated. They went into overtime with an 0-4 Oregon State. Thankfully, they came out the victors in that one. We're shouting you out now before you get prolapsed against Texas Tech next week, but do know that we support you. And you're 4-0. Take pride in that for what it's worth. Ohio State, they're undefeated. Oregon, undefeated. Ole Miss, 5-0. They're undefeated. Texas A&M, shout out to them. The Aggies are undefeated. It was a really, really ugly game, but they did manage to win that one. They're 16-10 at home against a upset-heavy Auburn. They did manage to get the job done, though.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them. Shout out to Indiana. Though it looked ugly, it certainly wasn't the Indiana we saw against Illinois, but they did beat Iowa by 5 on the road. So they survive in an Iowa football game. I got cut off there. But they survive all the same. They go on the road, take care of business. 20-15. Iowa scoring 15 points in a game. That's honestly shocking. Congratulations to Indiana. They're undefeated. Iowa State, undefeated. 39-14 win over Arizona. Noah Fafita tried to go off, but it just was not. It wasn't even close. Iowa State pretty much took care of business the entire way through.
Iowa State's going to the playoffs, guys. I hate to tell you, they're that damn good.
It's going to be a close call, I think.
Yeah, I think they have it. I really do.
But you're not wrong. They only played 2 ranked teams throughout the rest of the season, so I could absolutely see that being the case.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mizzou. I don't know if you realize Mizzou is undefeated. 42-6 win over UMass. They're 5-0. Shout out to them. Vandy is undefeated at 5-0. I don't know how long that'll last as their next challenge awaits in Tuscaloosa, but they are indeed undefeated. So shout out to them. Illinois is not undefeated, but they did get a huge clutch win off a game-winning field goal against USC. Tell me if you've heard this one before, everybody. Tell me if you've heard this one. They won off of a bad Lincoln Riley defense. What? What?
Come in here real close.
Ding, 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 ding. What? Crazy.
Come in real close. I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna send a message to Lincoln Riley personally. Hey, Lincoln Riley, you're a fraud. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, we're reaching fraud levels with Lincoln Riley. That's for certain. Another win off of it. Another loss of a terrible defensive performance. I think Illinois had somewhere around 400 to 500 yards of offense.
Yeah,
just per
that was
usual.
a revenge game.
Big fat
That was a
diarrhea.
comeback game.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to BYU as they also remain undefeated. They won against Colorado off of a field goal. Bachmeier certainly doesn't look as good as Retzloff, but against Colorado, who you own, it doesn't necessarily matter. Colorado goes down to 2-3. Not good for them. Row the boat, PJ Fleck. Congratulations. They won this week. Shout out to them. They beat Rutgers 31-28. So, yeah. And it was another highly offensive matchup, another shootout. Drake Lindsay appears to be the real deal, by the way. 324 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Who the fuck thought it, right? Drake Lindsay. Minnesota finally has a decent quarterback. Obviously, going to save them this Saturday when they play Ohio State, but we'll see.
Yeah. Shout out to Duke. They won 38-3 over Q's. Clearly, Syracuse is missing Steve Angeli-Bean by a whole lot. I think we all know that to be the case.
Yeah, that's the price you pay for taking down the devil incarnate known as Clemson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And shout out to the redheaded stepchild of the ACC's undefeateds, Louisville. They're 4-0, but nobody cares because nobody cares about Louisville. Nobody ever cares about Louisville, unfortunately. But they did win on the road against Pitt. Pitt has been a massive disappointment so far. I mean, they are obviously not the team I thought they were going to be. Eli Holstein just looks lost.
Yeah. The Louisville ball boy was stronger than Pitt.
Yeah.
You guys see the replay of the ball boy trying to take the ball away from the Pitt player who was trying to do some crazy dunk layup shit with it?
Yeah. At this point, I give up on Pat Narduzzi being able to do anything over 7 and 5. I give up on him. I don't either. Shout out to Cincinnati. Got a walk-off touchdown with about 29 seconds left to beat Kansas. So they're 3-1. Their only loss coming to Nebraska. Shout out to, and I never thought I'd be saying this, Kansas State. Guess what? They finally won a game. And Scott Frost loses in typical Scott Frost fashion. They lost 34-20. The only thing they have to go off of is that this wasn't a one-score loss.
I mean, what are you going to do here? If you're UCF, you're still a rebuilding project. I mean, you've already positioned yourself nicely to make a bowl game towards the end of the season. So, I mean, I still think overall UCF is in pretty good hands, and Kansas State is still a miserable fucking disappointment as a whole. But I digress. They won. Who cares?
Yep. No, that's right. Shout out to North Texas. They're undefeated. One of the front runners of G5 in the playoffs, or G6 at this point.
Rank them, cowards.
That's not happening. They got to go like they got to go 10-0 or at the bare minimum for that to happen. Good luck. Shout out to Northwestern. The only reason I'm shouting them out is because they managed to beat UCLA. So anybody who beats UCLA is getting shouted out here on Squidtard Sports.
Somebody is hating hard over there.
Oh yeah. Shout out to an actual successful rebuild. Utah. They beat the life out of West Virginia 48-14. They should be back in the rankings this week. If not, they will be shortly because Utah is a pretty good Big 12 team right now.
You got good bones. They got a good foundation getting laid there for the recovery. So, I mean, this year it is what it is, but I think next year they could be looking really good.
That's right. Cal recovered nicely as they won 28-24 over Boston College. Again, that's the same Boston College who lost to Stanford. Bill O'Brien is almost on his way at the door at this point. Might be one of the next coaches to be canned, but congratulations. Congratulations for the win, though. Still, it's a Cal.
I don't know about that. I think they'll give them a little longer leash than that.
I don't know. I think they've got a losing streak coming. So Dave Doran could be in the same path as they just lost to Virginia Tech at home, 23-21. A coachless Virginia Tech, by the way. So,
for real, what the fuck happened there, guys?
Typical Dave Doran football. That's exactly what happened. So NC State goes down I don't see how they keep him this year the way things look. But there you go. Get this, Stanford, they won again. They're 2-3 now. They beat San Jose State by a point. Shout out to them.
The mighty Spartans of Michigan. No, it's San Jose State. Oh, wow. You only won by a point. What do you want in the middle? Fuck off.
Right. Shout out to our boy Shane Beamer and the South Carolina Gamecocks. They beat Kentucky very handily, 35-13. Now Kentucky is a dead program walk-in, but still good for them. Good for them. Big win. And then finally, shout out to the Sun Belt After Dark for giving us an incredible matchup between Louisiana and Marshall. 54-51 in second overtime was the finale of that matchup. If you weren't awake to witness it, I pity you, because that was an incredible game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, 105 total points being scored in that one, going to double overtime. Louisiana with the walk-off touchdown on the run at the end. I mean, if you're a fan of defense, that was the kind of game that would put your ass into a fucking coma, and you would be on a ventilator right now trying to watch it. So that was a fun ass barn burner to watch back yesterday when I got a chance to.
Oh, wasn't it? It was an experience you as a fan should never forget.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, let's see. We do not have a lot of time left. Again, part of that is due to the fact that I started late, so I humbly apologize for that. But we're gonna try and get through this as fast as possible. Week 6 is coming up. A lot of good games. Renner, you want to buy this week?
No, Ohio State was on a bye last week. Ohio State will be taking on the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. And it's 7:30 Saturday night on Peacock and NBC. And I'm going to be streaming that motherfucker because I'm tired of watching Miami or Florida State every fucking week. So I'm streaming Ohio State for the first time since week 1 on Saturday night. That'll be a good one. And hopefully it's a win.
Let's do some quick predictions here before we call it a wrap on the show, shall we?
Really? Yeah, let's do it, buddy.
We'll start out with Friday night slate. Yeah, this is Friday night. West Virginia and BYU. BYU undefeated at 4-0, taking on the Mountaineers. They're 18.5-point favorites in this matchup. You think they cover that?
I think BYU blows their asses out of the water. They are the home team after all. West Virginia's kind of reeling after that last game. And I don't think they're prepared to handle their quarterback. Rich Rod, again, he's got a lot of work to do there. So give me BYU. I think they score 21 on them.
All right. Well, I think West Virginia actually covers here. I don't think BYU's got an offense strong enough to just run up the score on West Virginia, but I do think they win this game, and I don't think they have too much trouble doing it. So give me the Cougars in that one. Kentucky and Georgia. Georgia's at home. They're 20.5-point favorites. I'll tell you what, I've got Georgia, and I think they cover that spread. They've got to be angry after that loss to Bama. So I would safely assume that they don't have a hangover here. I think they get the job done and get it done fast.
I'm going to say that Kentucky actually makes it a little bit closer. It's probably going to be a 2-touchdown victory for Georgia.
I
know, right? What's the difference between a touchdown? Well, the difference is how efficient is this Georgia offense going to be coming into this one compared to the last one? Because they could be angry and pissed off, but just because you're pissed off doesn't mean you're able to channel your anger into effective playing. I think that Georgia, Kentucky might put up a little bit of resistance. I mean, after all, they gave Ole Miss a fucking game. I think it's possible. We'll see. Could be. Iowa State, Cincinnati, also another noon kickoff. Take into account the spread here.
Cincinnati's coming into this one as the favorite. Iowa State's undefeated and a top 15 team in the country, but they're a dog on the road going into Nipple Stadium, or Nipple Stadium as I call it. So this is an interesting scenario. Now keep in mind that Cincinnati is the same team that knocked off Arizona State last year, who went on to win the Big 12, as we all know. So is there a chance that Cincinnati could get it done here? That Brendan Sorsby could be the truth? Or do you think Rocco Beck goes out there and dominates?
Cincinnati's going to get laid the fuck out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here. I respect the Bearcats. I live in Cincinnati. So obviously people enjoy them. And honestly, we're really glad. People are happy here that we have a football team that's worth a shit right now. compared to the Bengals, who are dead. Bearcats are playing a lot better than we thought that they were going to be playing, so that's good. But, I mean, Razorbacks just too fucking good, and Iowa State's just too powerful of an offense. I think Iowa State wins easily on Saturday in Nippert. But, I mean, who the fuck knows? I could be wrong.
Who knows? Who knows? That's the truth. All right. Next up, Wisconsin going on the road to your favorite team, the Michigan Wolverines. coming in at number 20. Michigan is a 16.5-point favorite. Tell us what you think about this one, other than F Michigan.
On Wisconsin, they win in an upset because fuck you, Michigan.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, I'll take Michigan, but I staying true to your hate. Good job. All right, Illinois and Purdue. The Fighting Illini coming in as a 9.5-point favorite here. Going on the road. This was an incredible game last year. It was like a 50-49 sort of overtime game. But now Illinois, they had that big win against Southern Cal. Could this be a letdown week? Could this be a letdown week for the Fighting Illini?
Not really. I don't think it's going to be a blowout necessarily, but I don't think it's going to be close either. I think this spreads about what I think it's going to wind up being, a 9 or 10 point game that Illinois takes from Purdue. Allmeier's going to continue to just absolutely tear up everybody with the passing game and his rushing attack. Fegan is an absolute fiend on the ground. I think he's going to be able to do some damage. Illinois, I think they should win this one rather convincingly. So we'll see.
All right, there you go. I've got the Fighting Illini winning in a close one. We do have to skip some games because we're getting close to out of time here, but I do want to cover this one real fast. This is the ACC Turd Bowl, if I have to say so myself.
The hate bowl.
Clemson going on the road to face off against Big Tit Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Pits. So what do you think happens here?
For the love of God, don't let North Carolina win, or ESPN will not shut the fuck up about it. Please, Clemson, please just take care of business. Don't do this to us. We cannot handle Bill Belichick dick sucking on ESPN right now.
It's funny because I thought we were past the point of calling Clemson a quality win. I guess we weren't.
They're not going to fucking care. They'll just be like, oh, Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to even be close to – it's going to be
Deion Sanders walks so Bill Belichick could run.
Oh, he beat
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, on that note, I'll take Clemson. I do think they win in a close one against UNC on the road. I think Klubnik just does enough, and they only turn the ball over twice. How about that?
Zep, you're real happy about that clip, aren't you?
I can't cover that. Yeah, no. Oh, yes. Penn State against UCLA on the road. Give me Penn State big. And it is not even going to be close. They're gonna make Penn State look like they've got a dominant offense again.
Yeah, Penn State's gonna go into the Rose Bowl, a stadium they know very well, and paint the field blue. It's gonna be the ugliest damn thing since the last time UCLA played at the Rose Bowl, 3 weeks ago. So yeah, rip to the Bruins. Just don't. Why do you still play at the Rose Bowl? You're embarrassing the name of the Rose Bowl. Find your own fucking place to play. Go play at SoFi Stadium, for God's sake. It's right there in Los Angeles. Just fucking anywhere else but there.
Right. All right. Next up, Texas at Florida. Now, I've got a prediction for this one. I think Texas wins. We all kind of agree on that. Even if you think Arch Manning is like a bottom tier quarterback, which some of you actually do think that. I still don't, but that's beside the point. Even if you do think that, Texas's defense is more than enough to handle Florida. They're going to get some turnovers. And my bold prediction is I think this is the week that ends the tenure of Billy Napier, because I think he gives one giant middle finger on the way out to Florida fans. I think they get shut out here. If you know anything about Florida, one thing to take note of is that Florida is I think they've got the highest streak of scoring. It's been so long since they've been shut out. I think it was back in the 80s was the last time they got shut out. I think Napier gives them one last finger on the way out, and he doesn't score a single point in this ball game. So that's my bold prediction. That's my bold take.
Yeah, that's bold. I do think Texas wins this game. I don't have any doubts about that. I am going to take a quick look here. Does Florida have a bye week next week? They don't. They don't have a bye.
Their bye week was last week.
Yeah, they had a bye week last week.
They lost.
Yeah, so I am fully agreeing with you in the sense because the reason why I'm looking at bye weeks is because I was thinking that Florida could just do the same thing Arkansas did with Sam Pittman and fire him when they were going into a bye week, but you're not going to do that. Although, hey, Kentucky, here's your sign. I think that this is going to be an absolute demolition derby. I think Arch Manning, he might struggle in the first quarter and a half, but then he's just going to take the fuck off and just go ham. And he could do that posing he was doing to that poor kid from Sam Houston on one of the Florida players just to really rub a little bit of salt in that wound. So, yeah, give me Texas to, blow out the spread here. I think it's going to be a 2-score win.
All right, there you go. Next up, this is probably the prime time. Well, not necessarily prime time, but this is definitely the most interesting matchup of the week. Whoever would have thought that Vandy was going to be ranked this high when this matchup came along? More importantly, whoever thought that game day was going to be traveling to Bryant-Denny for this matchup? I didn't, but here they are. 3:30, Alabama and Vandy battle out. And this is the lowest spread I've seen for this game in a very, very long time. So there's a lot of hype around this one. I'm ready to see Vandy put up a fight, and I'll tell you what, I think they do just that. I think this is going to be a one-score game that comes down to the end. However, I do think Bama pulls out. I do think they get the jump on them at the very end, and I think it's like a touchdown game. That's what I think happens.
I think Diego Pavia is this decade's Johnny Manziel to Alabama. I don't think they're going to be able to contain him. I don't think they're going to be able to shut him down. I don't think that they're going to be able to stop him. And you can be like, oh, Alabama's just going to score on him. Yeah. Fuck it. Diego Pavia is going to score right back on Alabama. It's going to turn into a shootout, I think, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I got Vandy winning this one by at least a touchdown because it's going to come down to a touchdown to end this game. At most a touchdown, I should say. I got Vandy. I'm riding Vanderpimp all the way here. And if Vanderbilt does do this in Bryant-Denny Stadium, could you imagine the ramifications across all of college football?
Well, this is already probably the best Vandy team we've seen in over a century. Yeah. But they pull off that win, and this is probably the best Vandy team we've seen in the history of college football. So this is a big deal. Yeah, this is a huge deal.
Back to the days of leather helmets, at least.
Oh, no, absolutely. No doubt about that. All right. Look, we're running real low on time, so I kind of have to just skim it past a lot of these matchups, even though you guys want to hear me talk about them. We'll talk about them next week, so you don't have to worry about that, and they'll be covered in chaos, as you would imagine.
Pissing off the fan base.
Well, I piss off the fan base every time I open my mouth, so what did you expect?
Let's see. Try to do that. That's why people love me.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of pissing off the fan base, I think Minnesota covers, but I do think y'all win.
I don't disagree with that, to be honest. I mean, again, their quarterback is fucking pretty legit. I think it surprised me how well the quarterback has developed at Minnesota. Not going to be a win, but they'll cover. And that's fair enough.
I think they'll be close. I just don't think. I think it'll be like a 31-10 type of game.
Sure. That's fair. That's completely fair because Minnesota's not going to score more than 10 points on Ohio State. They haven't given up double digits all season on defense.
There you go. That tells you all you need to know. Here's the big one. Surprise game day did not go here, but nonetheless, Miami and Florida State. Of course, Florida State went down to Virginia, which knocked the hype around this matchup way down. But there's still a lot of hype on this one. Florida State could potentially derail the entire conference by getting this win right here. Miami's coming in as a 4.5-point favorite. Their defense is far improved. Carson Beck's only throwing 1 interception every single game. So this is a big game right here. What you got, Red?
Give me the Noles. I think the Noles will take care of the Canes here. The Canes, it's about time that they turn into a pumpkin. They usually turn into one around October anyways.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
I got Miami losing this one by a field goal. I think it's going to be close, but yeah.
I'm taking the Canes. Yeah, give me the Canes for this one.
Yeah, I think
Miami gets it done.
Himself.
Yeah. Fogville, appreciate the $2 super chat. Says Auburn now has the old Iowa offense. Pain.
Yep.
that is the truth. Yeah.
Where's all that shit talking now, buddy?
All right. I'll scroll over these real fast to see if there's maybe one more that I want to cover. Here you go. This one could be potentially important for the ACC. I don't know why we're covering it last, but I did want to. I kind of skimmed over, and there's one that I wanted to cover. Number 24, Virginia. First time they've been ranked since 2019, going on the road to face off against Louisville, who is undefeated. This one could have some sort of credentials in the ACC. So real quick, Red, tell me who you got winning this.
I mean, it absolutely could have credentials in the ACC, considering what you got already right here. 2 near undefeated teams right here. Virginia just knocked off Florida State. Louisville undefeated. Both haven't lost in conference yet. It's important. I'm going to go with the Who's. I'm going to go with Virginia to get this one done. I think Chandler Morris really showed me something in that game against the Noles, and I really like it. I know people are favoring Louisville, but why the fuck does Louisville matter exactly? Is it their quarterback, Moss?
Never. I mean, yeah, Miller Moss has had some pretty good performances, but I think their defense is suspect. I do think Morris is going to light them up, and probably I think it'll be a close game, but I've got Virginia winning this one. Whether they cover the spread or not is irrelevant at this point. And then by the way, Maryland and Washington, watch out for this one. Remember, I'm going to say this. I think Washington wins big. It's October. Or it's going to be October. In other words, it's time for Maryland to fall off a cliff. And go 4-8.
Washington does have to travel across the country to go play them. So
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Literally anybody can travel across the country against October Maryland, and they'll blow up.
I have one more game, if you don't mind scrolling down to Texas A&M against Mississippi State.
Ding, 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 cowbell.
That's going to be a good game right there, I think. Surprisingly enough, I think that's going to be an important game. A&M could slip up. Mississippi State did just give Tennessee a run for their money, and I don't think they're going to be deterred just because they're in Kyle Field. So A&M, watch the fuck out.
You think A&M wins though?
I think they still find a way to win because it is in Kyle Field and it is a hard place to play, and they do have a lot of momentum right now. Marcel Reed's looked really good, but again, they're gonna get their asses whipped and beaten up along the way. It's gonna be a hard win, but I still think they get the win.
Mm-hmm. I think State wins.
What?
I think State wins, and that's not just me trying to prop them up because they gave Tennessee a battle. I saw what A&M's done, and I saw what Mississippi State's done. That dude Fluff Bothwell is going to terrorize that A&M D line. He's going to put up some numbers, while I do think it's going to be a really close game, I think State's going to win that one out in the end. I think they're going to show the clutch bone. I think they're going to get the job done. They're going to come out and play angry after what happened against Tennessee. They're going to go out on the road, and I think they get the jump on them. And I think State goes out there and wins a huge one for Jeff Lebby. And we know this with A&M. They got to have 4 losses every year. This is number 1, at least in my prediction. This is number 1. All right, Red. Well, that concludes our edition of FBS Report. Even though we went 10 minutes late, we also finished the show 10 minutes late. So I guess everything works out in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of. If you plan it right or you fuck around enough, things seem to just fall into place at times. So, hey, worked out well.
I do. I hope everything falls into place with you guys as well, whether it's football or anything outside of that. I hope it all falls into place. And your day gets a whole lot better. That's all I could ever hope for. Because you guys are the greatest fan base here on YouTube, and we love and support y'all. as you've done for us.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
Red, you got anything else to say before we call it wraps on tonight?
Yes. Obviously, I think you and I are both going to be running it kind of close to when we get our videos out for the week recaps. This week, I already told people on my channel, expect my video to drop on YouTube Thursday. Usually I try to have it out by noon Wednesday, but that's just not going to happen this week. Check out my stuff Thursday. I'll be streaming Ohio State, Minnesota on Saturday. And again, go check out the Ohio podcast where I did a roundtable discussion with them last night. It was a lot of fun. They're good guys over there and they need the support. So definitely check them out. But yeah, that's all I got.
Tell like it is, brother. And yeah, for same here for me. College Football Chaos will be coming out sometime later this week, followed by 2 Game of the Century videos. And there's been debate on Game of the Century on what that's going to be. And since some of you guys have waited around and supported the show, I'll go ahead and tell you. I've already mentioned that Florida State, Virginia was one of them. So no surprise there. A lot of you thought, though, that it was going to be Mississippi State, Tennessee, and that's not the case. It's not going to be that. Rather, I am going to poke a little bit more fun at James Franklin. So I'm going. The other one is going to be Penn State, Oregon.
I saw that coming from a mile away. I'm only going to have time to do one video this week, but good luck to you, buddy.
I will be grinding as per the usual. All right, guys. Well, appreciate all of y'all for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday night. Hope you have a great rest of your week as well. We'll see you sometime this weekend. I'll be live over on Tard Area Tuesdays and then pretty much live throughout the rest of the week, trying to catch up on the channel rebuilding program over on Squidtard. And then I'll also be live on Saturday for Vandy Bama, the biggest game of the week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much again for watching. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, of course, power to Tard Area. And we'll check in with y'all next week.
Make sure you spay and neuter your animals.
And floss your teeth.